Welcome to my world. I'm your host, Kevin Rutherford. It's Thursday, October 31st. Can't believe it's November tomorrow. We are here live. It's time for a free-for-all. We have just a little under an hour. I think we've already got some calls coming in. Jump in and join us. I don't have an open today at all. I'm going to go straight to the calls. Why did I forget our phone number? 855-950-3835. My brain is not working all that well yet this morning, and neither was my entire studio setup. I don't know what's going on. That's why we're about 2 minutes late today. I started everything up, and nothing wanted to work today. I had to keep restarting. I actually had to rewire something for some reason, and it all seems to be moving a little slow, including me. So pick up the phone and give me a call. Coming up after this hour, we'll be rolling toe with Mike and Kevin Beckett. Have we heard from them yet? Let me see. Maybe we haven't heard from them yet. They should be here. We're going to go to the phones. Jump in and join us. 855-950-3835. We're off to Florida to get started. Nick, good morning.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. How you doing, sir?
Good. What's on your mind today?
I was wondering if you have heard about that new fuel bill that they are proposing in the Congress.
New fuel bill. I haven't heard this at all.
Yeah, it's a bipartisan bill that the government is going to dictate how much you're going to pay for fuel. And if you end up paying over a certain amount that they think you should pay, that the government will reimburse you.
Are you sure? That sounds really odd.
It's extremely odd. I just caught a piece of it. I didn't hear the whole thing, so I was kind of hoping because you're plugged in pretty well, and
I'd be surprised that I missed this, but I could have. I didn't scroll headlines at all this morning, so if it was something in the news today, I may.
This is a couple of days ago, and
you don't have
this lady that
the name of the bill or who sponsored it or a bill number?
I was hoping that you knew that so I can look it up, to be honest. I know a Democrat and a Republican are both on board for it. So,
I'm interested. I'd really like to see this if there's something going on. Sometimes, there are bills that will never, ever get passed. Many, many don't. One that I can think of that's been around for about 30 years now and has never passed is the fair tax. There's a bill out there. It's been out there forever. They reintroduce it all the time. It gets a couple more sponsors and a couple more people to sign on every year, but it never gets even close to passing. I can't, in my head, this sounds totally wrong. Like, who in the world would ever think that this could be any kind of a good idea based on what I'm hearing? So I'd really like to find this if I could. Supposedly
it was created to help small businesses.
Let's try this. Lisa's screening today, and Lisa's really good at searching for things. How about if I put you back in the queue, and you and Lisa see if you can find this? Lisa, if you could do that, just maybe do a couple quick searches, see if we can find something about this. Sounds like something I would definitely want to talk about. All right, I've got another call in the screening room, so we'll get to that in just a second. I'm wondering, this is more. Again, I'm going on very, very little information here, but I want to see it because this does fit in with the Democrats' idea of we're going to pay for stuff for you. This is no different than paying off student loans or wage and price controls. That's really, here we're talking about a price control. Even if that price control is only for certain small businesses, that actually gets worse. Now we're really picking winners and losers. We complicate things. We do not need the government setting the price of anything. In fact, it's the government that got us here to the point where we need some sort of relief from the inflation. But the government is not the answer. The government created the problem. They're not going to fix it. Any type of interference into prices or wages or expenses of anything is a disaster. It never works. It never has worked. We have a lot of history. We've tried it in this country. It's been tried in many other countries. It does not work. The other problem with their thought about this is that it is... I just lost my thought. I was looking at the phone system to see what's going on with this. Messing with any kind of price in the government is always a problem. What they need to do is get out of the way. If we're really concerned about our energy prices, maybe we should get rid of all of those executive orders and all the stuff that the Biden administration did on their first day that made the energy prices go up. Maybe we should go back to Trump's drill, baby, drill. We have energy. Energy's valuable. We should be pumping as much oil as we can possibly pump, which will drive the price down. We do control the world price of oil these days. We are a huge producer and a huge consumer. So we have as much or more control over oil prices these days than OPEC does. That never used to be the case. Prior to fracking, and some of the other technologies that help us get to the oil we have, that wasn't the case. It is the case now. And during Trump's first term, we became completely energy independent. We need to get back to that. And I will say that the Biden administration has done a couple things to get us back to producing oil, but we could be producing more. But if there is anything to this idea of we're going to somehow set some sort of a price on fuel, it's just a really, really bad idea. Let's go to New Mexico. Tom, welcome to the program.
Yeah. Hey, good morning, Kevin.
What's on your mind today?
I just sent you over a video. Just tagged you on X with it. A guy that worked for the CIA about the Dominion voting machines. And
oh yeah,
this is only video one. Yeah, I don't. You know what I mean? So it's like video one. It's 16 minutes or so. And so I don't know how many states are using them. To be honest with you, but I'm trying to figure out why the hell we're using those machines at all. Why are we using machines with Chinese, Venezuelan source? They're in Serbia now. Their headquarters. Why are we using this company?
Let's just be real. I have a very strong opinion about this, and this is something I've changed my mind on. There was a time where I used to think, oh boy, pretty soon with technology, we won't have to go to the polls to vote. We'll just do it through our phone or something. I used to think that way, and I used to think it was a good idea. It's a stupid idea. It's a horrible idea. We should never go down that road. Really. In fact, we should do the opposite. Elections are too important, and even if you have an electronic system that works perfectly, people are still going to be suspicious of it because we can't see technology. That's a problem for us as human beings. I talk about this with engines. When we had mechanical engines and something broke, I could see that it was broke. I could fix it, and once it was fixed, I could see that it was fixed. There are some exceptions, obviously, if a part's inside the engine, but I can still get to that part, find the broken part, fix it. I can't do that in an ECM. When somebody starts messing with the programming, I don't, unless you know how to program, and then if you did, why would you pay anybody else? You can't know what they've done in there. Even if you know what they could have done, even if you know what you're doing, if I remember right, the ISX or the X15 ECM has like 60,000 changeable parameters. So,
Right.
So, and that's what technology is. It's really, really complicated. You could have 82,000 files that run this voting machine. And whether it's perfect or not, we are now in an environment in our country where we don't trust each other. The two sides don't trust each other. Everybody thinks that everybody's cheating somehow. You know, do you believe that the Dems actually think that the media favors Trump? I've seen that. That's
no,
how
they say it.
It is so blatantly obvious to me when I watch it that how could you ever say that? We've known forever that the media favors the Democrats. It's not a surprise. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just gotten much worse. But yet, I see people on the left all day long. Oh, that the media just covers for Trump constantly. What? Are we living in the same world? That's how divided we are, though. So we're both totally suspicious of the other side. We're never going to trust them. And as long as there are machines, we will be fighting about whether the machine was hacked, and we'll never know. And honestly, I am beginning to think that is the point. We're going to go way down the conspiracy theory hole here. I believe that there is an effort to get us into a civil war. I really believe that. I
don't know how that could ever. To be honest with you, how would that ever happen? It's not like the Crips and the Bloods with the blue and the red. You know, unfortunately, the sumbitches look normal. You know what I mean? They look normal. You wouldn't know.
I could make so many jokes right now. Just look for look for the blue hair and the piercings.
Right.
We could go all day with this.
That's not always the case either, right? I know.
And on the other side, look for flags and patriotic symbols. I mean, right? It's not. I've even talked about the fact that I could walk into a restaurant and tell you who's Republican and who's Democrat these days by what they're eating.
I can.
So
yeah, that's true too.
Here's the thing:
I could normally spot the Karen, though. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
In the restaurant, they all wear the same. They got the gray hair, and then they wear the same glasses, whether they need them or not. You know what I mean?
Here's the thing: We're in our mind when we hear Civil War, we're thinking of the Confederates and uniforms and two armies fighting each other. I mean, remember, we had two different armies back then.
Yeah.
That's not what this is going to be this time. They just want, no. I'm really starting to believe this, they just want us fighting as much as possible, including physical confrontations between civilians. We've already seen it. I mean, we've seen this kind of stuff, the rioting, tearing down statues, lighting things on fire, individual attacks on people. That's what's just going to keep getting worse. And I think it's going to get much worse after this election. And whether it actually gets to the point where there's a true civil war and we actually start forming, battalions and armies, I doubt that that's going to happen. But I do think that much of what they're doing is designed to keep us divided and fighting. Yeah, and it's just getting worse. And this voting issue is the big one. I mean, we are still talking about January 6th. And that's when this started, because we did not trust the machines then. When we all went to bed on November 5th, and the race looked like it had been decided, and we all woke up and it had changed overnight. That's what made everybody suspicious. And we've been suspicious ever since.
And they're doing the same thing again. I see them they're covering. There's videos of them covering up the windows again. There's, they have those guys with the badges. They look official.
Did you see what happened in Pennsylvania?
What happened where?
In Pennsylvania. I can't believe this happened so fast.
Where they closed the line?
Yeah, so there's been lots of early voting, so there are long lines. And in Pennsylvania, around 2:33 in the afternoon, people with, these weird volunteer badges were walking through the line telling people, go home. It's too busy. You're not going to be able to vote today. And they did it several days. Well, here's how crazy this is. The Trump administration already took them to court over it, and it's already been decided that that was illegal to do that. And now Pennsylvania's been forced to add hours. They have to keep their polls open longer now for a couple days, I think till tomorrow, to make up for it. But isn't that crazy how fast? I mean, they did something. We had a court case. It's already been decided. I mean, this happened in days. That's how crazy this election is getting.
No, that's because the courts, now we have standing because last time we didn't know we were going to do this.
Well,
we didn't have enough lawyers. We didn't. So now we have standing, and the Supreme Court's even ruled on some of this stuff.
So here's what I think we should do.
But I don't understand.
I think we absolutely need to, and it's probably we obviously can't do it this year. We have got to throw out all the technology, go to 1 day of voting with paper ballots, and make it a national holiday so everybody's off.
Yes, I agree with you. When I was a kid, now I was born 30 miles east of Los Angeles, and my dad used to vote in the neighbor's garage. They had the one little precinct there. Right. You know what I mean? And so there was no line. Your friends, you're drinking coffee, or they were drinking beer, but whatever,
Yeah.
But have a bunch of those around, and that's exactly what we have to do. But it can't. It's supposed to be by state. The state's supposed to run their election. Well, we have to have a federal law that tells the state how to run their election. Because they can't just do that shit whatever they want to do.
I am a huge believer in states' rights. In fact, that's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to a really, really small federal government, very small, only designed for protection, the military infrastructure, not much of anything else. And then the states can decide a lot of things, but then there are some exceptions, and our industry's part of it. You can't let the states set a bunch of individual laws about trucking. You can't do that, and we've decided that. The Supreme Court agrees. You can't do things that interfere with interstate commerce. The states shouldn't be allowed to do that. California's doing it. They've been doing it forever with the missions. That is unconstitutional. I don't know why that one hasn't. They are interfering.
How did they get away with toll roads then? Because that interferes with interstate commerce.
Maybe. I hadn't really thought about that one. Maybe. I mean, it's not a huge interference. Not like. I mean, think about California. In a sense, forced people in Maine to buy a new truck.
No, I know.
That should have never happened.
I agree with you.
So when it comes to voting, if we went back to a good constitutional government, pushed everything out to the states, we would have some laws that are federal, and obviously election laws should not be allowed to be decided by individual states. We need one.
It can't be.
And they should be really, really simple. This isn't complicated. We should just have some basic rules about who's allowed to vote. How did we get to a point in the country where there's a big percentage of the country that absolutely believes you shouldn't have to show an ID? My God, we have to show an ID for everything.
Because those are the same people that are cheating and that cheated in the last election, that are going to cheat in this election. And she's going to win. She's going to win. And I am furious just because I know they're going to cheat that much, Kevin.
There's
no possible way that she's going to win.
Yesterday, all day, what I watched was probably 5 or 6 different issues around the country. Ballot boxes being set on fire right here in my neighborhood, just about. I mean, right down the street in Portland and Vancouver. Right. I think they had some somewhere else, maybe Colorado. We have absolute proof that the director of elections, I might have the title wrong or something, but somebody way high up in the election system in Colorado, posted months ago, posted the passwords to their voting machines.
The lady in Grand or near Grand Junction. She shared half a password with, I think it was a media person, because she wanted people to know that there's cheating going on. Those Democrat judges gave her 8 years. This woman, they gave her 8 years. She's in jail right now.
From what I understand, that these multiple passwords to these machines had been posted on a website somewhere, and nobody realized that, they say, and now we found them, and that was one story. Then
and no big deal. Move along, nothing to see here.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry about that. Big deal.
Closing the ballots early. Then we find out, I never knew this, you're not allowed to wear political shirts or hats when you go to vote. I never knew that.
Yeah.
So they're making.
Yeah, you see that lady that voted in her bra?
She's like 80 years old, and they told her she can't wear that shirt to vote, so she took her shirt off. I know, she took her shirt off, voted in her bra. Congratulations. But then on the other hand,
good for her.
We seem to have people wandering around in some of these polling places with official-looking badges that have nothing to do with the voting system, but they're influencing people.
Right. No, what's going on with that? How come, do you remember when the new Black Panther Party was in Philadelphia?
Yeah.
And they were armed, standing there, intimidating people. So that's what I mean. There's got to be, there is laws, but laws don't mean shit if you don't enforce them.
Yeah. So I can't believe for a second that we are not going to fight viciously over the results of this election, no matter what they are. No matter what they are, the other side is going to believe that the other side cheated. And I don't know how this is ever going to get settled. That's why if we could do one thing to just take away all the suspicion, just make it paper ballots, one day, national holiday. We know at the end of the day who the president is.
Which we will if we win, but we won't win because they'll cheat. And then what do we do? Because, I'm 60 years old now.
So,
and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not condoning violence, but I'm just telling you, there's a lot. I've talked to a lot of people out here, and we're all about fed up with this bullshit.
Well, I really, really try hard to not be completely partisan and really look at what's happening objectively. But I have to say this, and I watch this stuff. I watch this stuff way closer than I want to. I have spent so much time on this. It's part of what's making me a little crazy right now, and I'm tired all the time.
There's 5 days left. There's 5 days left. We gotta do.
I know.
We're 4th and 1.
Yeah. No, but here's what I would say based on what I'm seeing in this election and what I've seen in virtually every other election in my lifetime. If you asked me right now, if we could do one day of voting with paper ballots, who wins, I would stake my net worth on the fact that Trump would win right now. I have no doubt, based on what I'm seeing at the polls, what we're seeing in early voting, what we're hearing from people in the streets, the numbers themselves, the excitement around Trump's campaign right now starts to remind me of Reagan. And honestly, some of the voting numbers are starting to look like it could be. And everybody's freaking out. Don't get overconfident. Everybody's got to vote. I agree with that. But I would make the statement that if we voted in the next day or two, straight paper ballots, one day, Trump would win, and I would virtually bet my net worth on it.
So would I, but somehow they're gonna. And well, I guess it hasn't happened yet, and I'm not a prophet, but the way I can read the tea leaves because I sat through the last election and I was up all night when they stopped voting and just those 5 or 6 states. I said, oh, wait a minute. We saw way too much shenanigans.
I know.
And they're doing the same thing now. And I just don't know, because it's not like, we can get them back in 4 years, because we can't.
No,
because
I know.
this will be the last time. And so I don't know what to do. I just don't know. I'm really, like I told you before, I just might bug out and just go, what? You know what? You guys deserve what you get. And I'm going to be out here by my little gold claim, and then just me and my big fat white ass.
I know. Hey, Tom, I got to move along. The call's piled up.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Yeah. Boy, is my system working slow. There we go. Holy cow. Let's go to Florida. Looks like Nick found that bill for us, or an article or something. Nick, what you got?
Hey, Lisa sent it over to you to look at.
Oh, okay, hold on 1 second. There we go. Have you read it yet?
I have not. I just heard a explanation by this one lady, and it didn't really make sense. So that's why
the headline tells me this is not going to be really simple, but I'll scroll through here. Here's the headline. New bill could allow small businesses to lock in diesel prices and other commodity costs. Now, when I read that headline, that doesn't sound to me like the government is going to make up any money or pay for it. It sounds more complicated than that. It's through the SBA. It's called the Thrive Act, if anybody wants to go look this up. It's S5063. That would be a Senate bill, 5063. Gasoline and diesel are the only commodity guaranteed to be included in the program. The program would include two options for small businesses. A future purchase agreement would allow the SBA to establish and maintain the direct cost of a commodity, or a call option purchase agreement would protect a business when the price of the commodity increases by more than 10%. Okay, I don't understand the details yet. I would have to keep reading here, but I don't need to keep reading anymore to know. Not no, but hell no. We do not need our government in the commodities market guaranteeing prices and working with call options. This is total bullshit.
Absolutely.
Do we know who's supporting this?
It's probably an article somewhere.
Yeah, I'm looking. I don't see any names. Wait a minute. It's Senators Jeannie Shahan, a Democrat from New Hampshire, and Bill Cassidy, a Republican from Louisiana. I don't see any groups or anything that have come out supporting it yet. This is a horrible, horrible idea. I will probably, if this looks like it's going to get any traction at all, I'll probably get Noel to come on and explain why this is such a bad idea.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why I was asking about it is the lady that I follow, I forget her name. She owns a small trucking company, and she has some interesting information out there about rates and lanes and stuff like that. Well, she's struggling right now because of the rates and everything, and she actually got excited about this bill.
See that?
So that told me right there that I don't really want to follow you anymore, because
correct.
You're struggling because you don't know your numbers and you don't know what's going on. So
and then when they get excited about the government messing with our money, whether it's rates or price controls, anybody that would get excited about that, I don't want to. I really don't want to know how they run their business. That is anti-business. Anytime we think the government's going to come in and help us in business somehow. Here's another problem with this. Business is competitive and should be. Businesses that come up with better ideas and do things better will win and survive, and that's the way it should be. It happens a little bit in trucking, but this is a big deal. Southwest, the airline, was able to be more competitive than almost any other airline because they did this on their own. They went to the commodities market and they invested in fuel futures. They took the risk. They learned how to do this. They risked their money to do it, and it worked out for them. They were able to lower their overall cost of fuel by investing in fuel futures. Fantastic. I'm all for that. I don't want the government.
Yeah, they lost their ass too a couple times too, but
They did.
when
That's
the prices go down, but
That's right.
that's the chance you take.
That's competition and risk. And we should be doing those things as businesses, not as the government. Here's the difference. When a business fails at this, they'll go out of business and somebody else will pick up the work. That's how business works. It's a dog-eat-dog world. When government takes on something like this and they totally screw the pooch and lose about $1 billion, they don't go out of business. They'll just go on to their next fiasco and do it again. And that's our money.
Yeah.
That's what this.
Well, the thing that upsets me the most about it is that there's a lot of companies out here that don't belong out here because they're just hanging on by a thread. They're just doing what they can just to make their next truck payment. And it's those people that are driving the rates down.
Of course.
And a bill like this will prolong their agony because they'll get a little bit of extra money,
Probably. Right.
I don't.
Anytime,
I don't get it.
Anytime you hear the phrase "we're going to level the playing field," run the other way. The playing field is already level because we all have the same opportunities and we all play under the same rules. That's a level playing field. Now, some people are going to do better and some are going to fail. That's the way it should be. When we talk about leveling the playing field, just think in your mind, everybody gets a trophy. It's the same approach, and it's bad for us. People need to fail. That's how a free market works, and it works really well when you let it work. The more the government screws with the free market, the worse it becomes.
Yeah. I agree.
Right. Well, we'll keep an eye. No,
I got one more thing.
Yeah,
I got one more thing. Once you're done with this,
I'm going to make one statement about this bill. I don't completely understand it because this is pretty in-depth. When you start talking about call options and commodity prices, this could be really complicated. I don't have time to read the bill right now. I'm going to. There may be some things in this that actually sound good, that there probably will be. But I can make a decision on this without knowing the details. And I've made a decision. I don't want anything like this. I don't care how good it looks once we dig into the details, because I want government out of business, not more in. So I may come back and say, they actually, this wouldn't be bad. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care what the details are. I am against this kind of government meddling in business.
They've turned us into such a welfare state that people can't function without the government.
No,
and it's like, it's ridiculous.
We are seeing it more and more in trucking now, where these trucking groups, associations that are supposed to be representing us, their attitude now is every time a problem comes up, they want the government to solve it. How did we get there? That's what creates all the problems. But many of our trucking groups now, that seems to be their whole point. We'll find a problem and we'll go to the government and tell them they need to solve this.
Yeah.
All right. What else you got?
Well, I got one more thing.
All right.
Mats.
Yes.
You got any dates for that yet by chance? What your plans are? Or?
Yeah. Let me, what is that website? Truckingshow.com, I think, is Mats. I can tell you the dates of. They always know their dates ahead of time, and then once I see their dates.
Well, I know the dates of the show. I'm just wondering what your dates are going to be.
What are the dates of the show then?
The 20. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah. See, I could have said that too because I've looked at the dates already. I just didn't kind of commit them to memory because I have too many other.
Yeah.
Man,
27th to the 29th or something like that.
Here's what I'll tell you. The show always starts on a Thursday. It's the 27th.
Yep.
So we will start the CMC on the 26th. So the Wednesday before the open of the show, we will do all day of a CMC, and on Thursday we'll do a half a day.
Yeah, because they don't open until
Right. They have that.
Until the afternoon.
Yeah, they have that goofy, VIP. You get in at 10 o'clock in the morning. It's not that big of a deal. We will go till noon, probably, or darn close to noon on the CMC, and then you can walk out of the CMC right into the show.
Okay, so when are you going to start selling stuff for that?
Soon. I know Lisa's been working. We just had, Lisa already knows. December 1st, we will open up registration.
Okay.
All right. Good stuff. Thanks for that.
I will be there.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye on this bill. More government meddling in business. We don't need that. Let's go to Florida. Pat, welcome.
Hi, Kevin. Yesterday, somebody was looking for information on vaccines, childhood stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to recommend the Children's Health Defense.org.
Yeah, Dr. Tracy recommended that one as well. That's a good one.
Yeah, they're very good. And then, since I'm recommending things on the cancer, the FLCCC, and search Google under that FLCCC Cancer Care, and you'll be able to find the publication on the repurposed drugs for cancer by Dr. Paul Merrick.
Oh, excellent. Excellent. I will go look for that because it's pretty crazy. They have a whole big list of these old drugs that have been around forever, and now they're working on cancer.
Yeah, the drugs that you mentioned, the albendazole, menbendazole, fenbendazole, they work because the structure of the cancer cell is similar to the structure of the worms that are in the dogs or the horses or whatever.
Yeah,
and ivermectin is a similar type thing.
Right.
Plus, they also, another reason they work, at least on the menbendazole and the fenbendazole, is I think they moderate glucose and also glutamine.
Yeah.
Which glutamine's the hard one. You can live without glucose, but because you can make your own somewhat.
Right.
But you can't really go too hard against the glutamine because it's primary for your immunity system. It's innate. It's what you need.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can knock it down a little bit. Anyway, that's the two I would recommend.
Perfect.
And talk to you later.
All right. Thanks for that. Appreciate it. Let's go to Massachusetts. Todd, welcome.
Hey, hello again. So I found, speaking of government meddling in business, somebody, I think it was another driver, told me that as of this New Year's Eve, the state of, big caveat, the state of Massachusetts will not be allowed to sell, I must read something, sell at least a diesel truck built after this New Year's Eve or 12/31/24. If you plan to register it in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and they want you to, as a dealership, they want you to sell at least one, they call it a BEV, like in boy electric. I don't know what the B is, but I probably should. But
well, it's simple. Battery electric is all that means. The difference being, so that distinguishes a hybrid. So you could either have a hybrid, and this is mostly in cars because I don't know that we have any hybrid trucks. The Prius, been around forever. Everybody makes a hybrid, which has an internal combustion engine and a battery system, so it's called a hybrid. To distinguish a fully electric, we refer to as a BEV, a battery electric vehicle.
Okay. And they want you to, as a dealership, the great and powerful and wise state of Massachusetts wants you to sell at least one BEV for every 3 diesel machines you sell.
And just
so
stop right there. That's the problem right there, forcing the market to do anything based on some goofy rule that a bunch of politicians came up with. Let the people decide what the hell they want to buy. That's it. Can't they see what's happened in just the last 3 years? Didn't Ford lose like $150 gazillion on the most popular truck or electric vehicle after Tesla, I think, was that electric pickup truck, and Ford took a beating on that. The dealers are all pissed off about all these electric vehicles. I just read a report that the people who bought them are screwed because the value of them has dropped so bad. They're all upside down. We have really recent results of how bad of an idea that was to force these vehicles, and yet we have a state still doing it.
Yeah, it's the truest of the bluest. And the day the state had a chance to vote out, this is a few elections ago, to vote out the state income tax, and they did not. I hung my head forever in shame.
I hate to constantly, talk about Elon Musk, but there's so many comparisons we can make here. Did Elon Musk have to bail out NASA just recently?
No, but I think he probably could.
No, he did.
He bailed out NASA? Well, that's news to me.
Well, no, NASA stranded our astronauts up there and said we can't go get them till next year. And Elon stepped in with his rocket and picked them up and brought them home.
That's just funny. No, I didn't know that, but it's just funny the way you put it.
But NASA hired Boeing to build these rockets to take the astronauts back and forth from the space station. And Boeing, again, I don't know what the hell happened to that company, screwed up. And we were going to leave those astronauts up there till next year. And this happened several months ago. They were going to be up there for almost a year waiting for an Uber. So Elon sent them one. Elon brings his rockets back and, grabs them with a couple of chopsticks is what it looks like. In North Carolina, FEMA failed miserably. Elon swoops in with a bunch of Starlink satellites, tells everybody, you don't have to pay for these. We'll just put them up there. They brought in thousands of Starlink kits for people and got them connected so we had some communication. Again, Elon Musk saves the government. What do we? Let's look at this again. Elon Musk brought out an electric car long before anybody was talking about it. Now, I get it. He got government subsidies. I wish he would have never gotten those. I wish there never would have been tax breaks for this. He still would have succeeded. I'm sure of it. Would have taken him longer, but he would have done it.
Yep.
But here we are again. He has already proven the way to bring an electric vehicle to the market is build a really good electric vehicle and wait for people to buy it. But the government comes along, nope, we can't wait. We're going to force everybody. We're going to waste everybody's money and everybody's time. I hope, I really, really hope that Trump wins this and he does create that office of efficiency and puts Elon Musk in charge of it.
Yeah. That sounds so great. I heard him say, $2 trillion off the top he thinks he can do in waste out of like a $6 trillion budget. And that would be great. But when Trump becomes president, energy prices are going to go right back down. And I don't know if there's a conflict of interest between Musk's battery cars and people plug them into their wall to get that electricity, and it comes from coal.
There's a conflict between Elon and Trump on this, and they talk about it, and they have talked about it on stage. I've read it in articles. Elon, says, "Look, I get it. Trump's an oil guy." And Trump is touting drill, baby, drill, and saying, I love Elon Musk's cars, but nobody should ever be forced to buy one.
Hell no. Yeah, I agree. My neighbor bought one. I can't remember the exact numbers, but I want to say it was a $52,000 car, and she paid whatever it was. She itemized it, $18,000 less because you and I kicked in money for her purchase. And I listened to her like I'm a neighbor, which I am, but I was like, what the fuck? It's just, and I was like, what happens in 10 years when those batteries no good? You know what she said? I almost verbatim. She said, well, the technology will change by then and we'll see. That's what she said. Even though I still don't understand where people, I really don't know. And I don't know if you know, I think I've asked on the Power Hour and the other show on Tuesdays, what's going to happen with with the batteries? Who's going to? I mean, if I buy a Tesla car that costs me $50,000 and in 10 years I have to pay $10,000 in batteries, I don't know. And then, but anyway,
No,
I did have. Yeah, go ahead.
The battery is the whole issue, and that's why we should be selling electric vehicles, but because the only way we can advance the technology is to sell the vehicles we have and create a profit, so these companies can keep investing in new technology. I get that, and there are many people already in the country willing to buy electric vehicles. Elon Musk proved that a long time ago. There are people who will take that risk. They want the electric vehicle. I get it. They should be allowed to buy it. But the battery technology will absolutely change. It has to. It can't work in its current form. We need a lighter, better. I'm going to say it needs to be a what's the term? I talk about it all the time. Solid state. Needs to be a solid state battery.
Oh, okay.
No heavy metals, no weird exotic metals, no problems with disposal, and they last forever. Kind of, sort of similar to the start modules we talk about. That you can start a vehicle 1,000,000 times with them and not wear out the start module. The solid state would be somewhat similar to that, but that's an oversimplification. That's where we will get to eventually. And once we do, many of the problems we're facing go away. We don't need a huge upgrade in infrastructure if we have a solid state battery. It doesn't take as much energy to charge them. We get rid of the weight issues. We get rid of the disposal issues and the exotic metals. And there are several companies who are getting closer to some sort of a solid state battery.
And hopefully that if we alleviate the reliance on those exotic metals, that will take China out of the loop. Because
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
they have most of them under.
Absolutely.
And that's a little bit of a problem.
And not only that, do you know when we abandoned Afghanistan, that horrible withdrawal, the embarrassing...
I would say, Joe, I wouldn't say we, but I got you.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Of course. Yeah.
Do you know who moved in and who's really controlling Afghanistan now?
Either Vlad or the Iranians. I don't know.
No.
I don't follow it.
No, it's China. Do you know why?
Why did I didn't even say China. No, go ahead. Tell me why.
The country's loaded with those exotic metals that they need to build batteries.
Oh, I thought you were going somewhere else. Yeah,
No.
yeah.
No,
Exactly.
China swooped in and filled the gap and quietly is just over there because they're going to be harvesting a lot of the metals they need for batteries.
Yeah. It's so obviously when, and by the way, I was going to say when President Trump becomes president, just my little public service announcement, everybody get out and vote early who hasn't, and just get it done, even if you got to drive 1,000 miles. Because, I meant to. Go ahead.
Yeah, the phrase that's being used right now, and I like it, is we need to make it too big to rig. If it is so overwhelming, which it's already getting there. If again, social media changed a lot this time. Had we not had true freedom of speech on X with Elon Musk, this would be a wildly different election right now. There are so many stories have broken on X that the mainstream media won't cover. And we get to see them this time. There's coverage this time. So this idea this time is we need to make it so big, so overwhelming that if they cheat, it's going to be really, really obvious. Now, I believe that no matter how overwhelming it is and how obvious it is that they're cheating, they're still going to do it.
Yeah, they've started already burning ballot boxes and catching. You think you've talked about it, catching, 600 or 6,000 illegal immigrants on some state rolls?
Well, here's how bad it is. If you weren't following this story, Virginia, Youngkin, the Republican governor of Virginia, went through the voter polls and found people that were on the voter rolls who they checked the box themselves that they are not a U.S. citizen. That's what they went after. They looked in the voter rolls. There's a question. Here's why this is occurring. States, we'll go back to the states again, are now setting up systems where when you get a driver's license, they register you to vote automatically. People don't even realize they're being registered to vote. Well, the problem with that is we now have states that give driver's license to non-citizens. So now we have non-citizens ending up on the voter rolls. We know it's happening, but it gets worse. The governor went in and set up a system and said, look, if you checked the box that you are a non-citizen, we're pulling you out of the voter rolls, and you have 2 weeks to prove to us you are a citizen, and we'll put you back on. If it was a mistake, if you checked the box incorrectly, prove you're a citizen, we'll put you back on the rolls. And they were doing that.
Fair,
The courts,
fair enough, but they're probably
wait a minute.
They're probably illiterate in their birth language.
It gets
never
worse.
mind English.
It gets worse. The courts in Virginia immediately stopped him and said, "You can't do that. Put them all back on the rolls."
You can't do that. Yeah. Okay.
That
these
occurred
people,
this week.
No one says it. No one says it. Not you. I don't even think President Trump has come right out and said it. People are getting closer in the last several days, but these fucking people are literally trying to destroy it. And don't say, oh, they're cheating. Don't say, oh, they love illegal immigrants. Don't say, oh, their hearts. They're fucking trying to destroy the country. They're literally trying to do it, and that needs to be said, even though everybody knows it. But just say it. I mean, the evidence. If you need evidence, it's all over the place. If you say no, you can't do what Youngkin was trying to do, then you're a domestic enemy, and
Absolutely.
That's prosecutable.
Absolutely, but that is what's happening already in this election. That's how bad it is. We have a document in front of us where somebody declared themselves a non-citizen. They end up on the voter rolls, which is completely illegal. And then I just got totally distracted. I got the 5-minute warning, and it threw me off my game.
I won't.
I know
they shouldn't be allowed. They're domestic enemies, and the governors and the people in charge should be yanked or bounced or jailed or fined because of it. You can't support illegal activity.
This is where not only did I read a recently written novel about this that actually was kind of scary, but I'm seeing more and more talk that the whole point of what they're doing is to create civil unrest, all the way to the point of even creating another civil war, that's actually their plan.
Of course, George Soros and the Fabian socialists, all these evil bastards. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
All
right.
Before,
hey, Todd,
I know
it is the 5 minute. We're down to the 3.5 minute warning now, and I got to get 2 more calls in here, and I'm being watched. I can see Mike and Kevin Beckett are on there, and they're watching me, and they're watching the clock. Jeff, it's the speed round. What do we got?
Yeah, I've worked the polls here in northern Indiana for 30 years, and it's always been no electioneering 50 feet from the polls. And that means no hats, no shirts, no posters.
I never knew
no
that.
No signs of any. Yeah, it's called electioneering because there are always people standing out there promoting their candidates, the volunteers, and they hand you a piece of paper, vote for this guy, vote for that guy.
Yeah.
Well, we have to have a trash can 50 feet before that, because they couldn't bring that in.
Got it.
I believe their thinking on that was people don't know maybe who they're voting for, and the last thing they see somebody with that on there that changes their mind, and they vote for them. It's just been...
Now that I understand that, I've lost even more faith in humanity.
Yeah. Oh no, absolutely. But and I've had people.
How do you?
I've had to go up to people in line and say, "You can't. You're going to have to put on a sweatshirt or turn it inside out." And they start screaming and yelling. And I show them the state statute and says it's not my rule or what it is. And
I'm sorry.
It's just called electioneering. You can't do within 50 feet of the polling place.
Okay, I'm sorry, but if you show up for something this important and you haven't decided yet while you're in line, or maybe you decided but you're so easily swayed by somebody with a pamphlet, I'm sorry, you just suck as a citizen. Let's just be honest.
Oh, absolutely. But
You're an idiot, and you should not be voting. Go home and watch Dancing with the Stars.
I just had people stare at their ballot. They've been there for 10 minutes. I walked up to them and said, is there a problem? Can I help you? And they're saying, well, I'm just not sure who I should vote for. I said, okay, take your time. I'll leave you alone. You can't influence or have interaction. You didn't know who you were voting for before you got here?
Maybe I can help people here. First off, for the most part, if you're going to vote and you're not really political, just vote for the big ticket stuff. Just vote for president, your representatives, and go do a little bit of thinking and research before you do. Don't overwhelm yourself with the whole ballot. If there's a bunch of elections on there for judges and these other positions that you don't know, there's lots of them I don't know. I don't know. Which, sure. And many times here in Oregon, the judges run unopposed anyway. But here's a secret maybe people don't understand. You don't have to check every box. You can totally...
Right, that's a lot of people did not...
Right, just leave it blank. Don't guess. Don't throw darts at anything. If you don't understand the candidate or the issue, leave it blank. Do us all a favor.
Yeah, that was usually the biggest part. They say, well, do I have to vote for everything? I go, no, you could take this ballot and stick it in and not check anything.
Correct.
They go, oh, I just thought you had to vote for everything. I said, no, you can just leave it completely blank. And they're going, oh. And then they walk away and they're done. They thought they had to fill it out like a text.
Yeah, and don't vote on something you don't understand. Just leave it alone. Just skip it.
All righty. Thought I could shed some light.
All right. Good stuff. Thank you. And I did not know that. All right. I just crossed my time limit, but I have one more call, so I'm taking it. Let's go to Pennsylvania. Austin, what do you got?
Hey, I wanted to add something about what you said about the Virginia thing.
Yeah.
That actually got found out last night that they're going to go through with that. And if they are a citizen, they can prove it and they can vote. So they ended up solving that problem.
Yeah, that's how they were handling it originally. And they were clear about that. The governor said, look, you checked the box saying you're a non-citizen, so we took you off the rolls. You can't vote. If you claim you're a non-citizen, you can't vote. But we're going to give you 2 weeks. In case you made a mistake when you checked the box, we'll give you 2 weeks to correct it. But then the courts came in and said, you can't do that. You can't take them off the rolls and then make them prove that they need to be put back on. You have to put them all back on.
Well, but they just had another ruling last night that they vetoed that. So now they redid that. Now they're going to go through with his idea.
So think about all this. We have ballot boxes being set on fire. We don't know I think they caught one person. And I'll just say it. The one they caught was a Democrat. We have ballot stuffing in Pennsylvania that they're investigating. We have the head of elections giving out the passwords to the voting machines and posting them on websites that they're trying to straighten out. We've got lawsuits in Virginia already. We had a lawsuit, a court case already in Pennsylvania brought up and decided within a couple days. The problem with all this is, like I said at my open, no matter who wins, the other side is going to claim cheating. It's a mess. The machines are now suspect again. They've proven that the Dominion machines do have issues. Dominion has admitted it this year. There are so many problems and we're trying to put out the fires as they occur. The problem is our voting system is a mess, and it needs a complete overhaul, and nobody is going to trust the results this time. No matter which side it is.
But, you would think if there was cheating on the left, there'd be cheating on the right.
Well, there is cheating on the right. I'm not going to say that it could have been a Republican that burnt down one of these ballot boxes. When it comes to the cheating and the system being a mess, both parties are at fault here. And both parties are going to be, one of the parties is going to be the one that's really pissed off and is probably going to start problems because they're not going to trust the results no matter what this time.
Oh, 100%.
All right. I'm going to cut you loose because actually I'm going to bring in Mike and Kevin Beckett here from Rolling Toe. But technically, guys, good morning. Hello?
Good morning.
Oh, there you are. Technically, I know you're looking at the clock.
Can you not hear us?
Yeah, can you hear us? I can hear you.
Oh, good. I can hear you.
Wow, I think we have a really big...
totally, I can hear you.
I think we have a really big delay, so we'll try to get through it. It's been acting a little weird all day. I just want to defend myself here. I know you two are looking at the clock saying, that damn Rutherford's 3 minutes late again. Technically, this time I'm not. I had some issues at the beginning, and I didn't start until 8:03. So when I quit at 9:03, I'm right on time.
As far as I'm concerned, you can talk all day. We're okay.
Oh, I see calls coming in.
I'll just take a nap.
I see calls coming in, and that has to be for you, not me.
Whatever you say.
So. I assume we're not doing a show next week. I mean, both you and I are going to be in Nashville.
That is correct. You and I will sit down at a table and have our own show.
There we go.
All right.
That'll be fun.
Yeah. Looking forward to it. All right. I will get out of your way. Actually, today the phone system's been working really well, and I'm starting to think that I was working on the phone system all day yesterday and our connection to it, and I haven't dropped my call now in 2 days. I started working on it yesterday, but I think it's affecting some other things a little weird that I've got to go try to figure out. But so far, the show went pretty well. I think you guys will be fine.
Okay, thank you.
Right. I will get out of here and get out of your way. Thanks as always, and have a great show.
Yep. All right. So now it's on to the Rolling Toe Show, and which as he always says, you slow down, change gears, and go in a slightly different direction, which is the tire wear and handling portion of the program.
Left turn. We
also handle chrome and jokes, and sometimes singing, but as little as possible.
Georgia.
Yeah, like one song. It seems to be Georgia. One song. It's a good song, but still. This is Kevin and Mike Beckett with MD Alignment on the Rolling Toe Show, and this is the bajillionth edition. We're coming up on 10 years we've been doing it. Not quite there. It's about February of 15 till February of 25.
I don't even remember it. It doesn't matter.
Right. Anyway, this is a call-in show.
And so where are you going next week that you're not going to do a show?
I have paperwork all over my desk about this. We're going to a thing called the NASTC conference. NASTC.
That's kind of nasty.
Which is, I guess, let's see, it's the same ballpark as what Kevin Rutherford covers with his Let's Truck Network, but it's geared towards small fleets.
Small truck fleets.
Small truck fleets, not necessarily owner-operators, but small truck fleets.
Average size about 10 trucks.
That's what they say. We're going to find out. This is all, I guess, David Owen was on last week with Trucking Business and Beyond, and we ended up hearing about it from Kevin and David, and now we are just going to go ahead and check it out. Going to have a great time. If anybody is going there that listens to the podcast, I look forward to seeing you there. It'll be myself and Heidi. Mike is going to stay here at the Des Moines world headquarters of MD Alignment.
And take a nap.
Yeah. A number of them, I'll bet.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yes, it's a call-in show, and we have a phone number if you happen to have a phone, which is 855-950-3835, or you push the button on your device that has the Let's Truck app on it.
Yes.
So let's go to the first call on the list, and it looks like somebody named Nick, maybe, at 9.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Howdy. We're good.
I'm good. I'm great, actually.
Good. That's
Got a tire wear issue that I've been fighting on my truck for about 3 years. It's on a steer axle.
This
Always
the same tire
for 3 years. That's great.
Well, no, not the same. I've replaced them, but I've tried different brands and they all wear the same. I've had the line. It's driving me nuts. It is completely. Go ahead.
Tell us what the tire wear pattern looks like and which front tire.
Yeah.
It's a driver's side.
Okay.
And it's not really like cupping or anything. It's just pretty much wiping out the shoulder. It's like
the inside shoulder or the outside shoulder?
Both, actually, but more on the outside.
Okay.
When I come to a stop, I can get out there, rub my finger on it, and there's like little balls of rubber on it. So
okay,
balls of rubber.
All right. Now, which brand
not
truck?
Balls, but like stringy. It's a Freightliner Columbia.
Freightliner Columbia. Okay. Do you happen to know what brand of axles underneath it?
I don't.
What year Columbia?
It's a 16. It's a glider.
All right.
Okay. Are you stopped or are you driving?
I am driving.
Okay. If you put the cruise control on and put a bungee strap through the steering wheel to hold it still, you can get out and run alongside the truck and open the hood so you can look at something for us, okay?
You don't necessarily have to open the hood. You could just run your hand over the tire.
Okay. When you get stopped someplace, flip the hood up, look over the top of the tire at the steering arms and the linkages that hook up, okay?
Yep.
What I want to know is if the steering arm that hooks up to the steering gearbox is a part of the spindle, it's all one cast piece, or if the steering arm is bolted to the spindle and then the drag link is hooked in, okay?
Okay.
If it's all one piece, that means it's
not all one piece. It's not all one piece.
Bolted on.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So that takes care of that idea. All right. And you said if you rub your hand around the shoulder of the tire, you get the stringy pieces of rubber, which means it's burning off. And that I understand that. But if you slide your hand across the tire toward the frame and back, do you feel a sharp edge one way and a smooth edge the other way?
No, I do not. It's smooth all the way across.
It's the same both directions. Okay. All right.
Yes.
Very good.
What size tires are these?
22.5 low pro.
Okay. And what model tire do you typically run?
These are, I'm drawing a blank. Oh my God. I've ran them the last two. I got 150,000 miles out of my last set, and I'm at probably 50,000 on these right now.
Do you get a solid shoulder design or a decoupler groove design?
It's solid.
Ah. And are you in a regional operation? You're a regional operation?
I am. Yes.
And what are you doing?
I just run up and down 95.
How far?
From 600 miles one way.
You should be running a highway tire. You've got the wrong tire.
Yeah, that's not a regional operation.
To start with. That may not be your only problem, but that's one problem. Okay? When you run a regional tire,
you're expected to do a lot of turning.
And you're doing a highway operation, which is what you're doing. You're running the interstate. You will tend to show a wear initially about the width of your index finger on the outside shoulder of that tire. And then it'll gradually eat its way across to the whole rib, and then the rib will start disappearing.
That last rib out. Does that happen both inside and outside on the tire?
That's pretty much what it's doing.
Okay, so let's start by getting a highway tire instead of regional tire.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, my mechanic
Now,
recommended these, so
well, he's probably a good mechanic, but he don't know shit about tires.
that's funny.
Okay. All right. Now,
any
tell you
any,
what.
okay, that was my next question.
I'm not going to tell you what brand. I'm not going to tell you what brand to buy, but I will tell you that if I was buying tires, I would buy what's called a second tier tire. Okay. Now the primary tiers are Michelin, Bridgestone, Continental, stuff like that. Each one of those tires has a second tier, and when they build a brand new, let's say Michelin tire, they take the old tire, they rebrand it as a BF Goodrich, and they sell it at a lower price, but it's still that premium tire they had. Okay. So I would buy a BF Goodrich or a General or a Firestone in a highway tire with the decoupler groove on it. Okay?
Yep.
Okay.
Premium highway tires. It turns out you are in a highway operation if you spend 99% of your time driving straight down the interstate. If you're in a regional operation, if you have to turn every 20 miles,
then you're regional. And the reason for the difference is that decoupler groove on the outside shoulder prevents that wear on the outside from eating into the rib. And that outside decoupler may sacrifice, but the main rib's okay. If you're in a regional operation and you're turning into yards and stuff all the time, that outside rib can get ripped off. And that's why you put a solid shoulder tire on those operations.
Right.
Okay?
Okay.
So let's just start with getting a good second tier highway tire and see if that settles your problem down. Okay?
Okay. Sounds good.
All right. Awesome, buddy. You have a good day.
All right. Thanks.
You bet.
That should help.
Hopefully.
I think it will. All right. We got two more on the hook, and we'll go ahead and reel them on in. We'll start with this one. It's a 781 area code, and probably somebody named Joe.
Yes, sir.
How you doing, Joe?
Hello. I'm good. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm
very good.
This is here, by the way, that your last call was October 31st of 2023. So you've waited 1 year for this call.
For sure. Yeah.
What can we do for you, Joe?
I have a 2016 Freightliner Cascadia, and I got this shake between 56 miles an hour and 60 miles an hour. I've listened to previous episodes, and most probably you point the problem to be in the rear of the truck, the drive line.
Okay.
And I just put new tires.
Where's the shake at?
The shake? It shakes right around
in the seat or in your hands?
No, it happens between 56 to 60 miles an hour.
In the seat and feet, or in the steering wheel?
Yes, in the seat and feet, not in the steering wheel.
Okay, good.
All right.
Okay, so it's a driveline vibration.
Yep.
And you put new tires on the rear end, and that didn't change it, right?
Yes. And the other question I had, in the rears, I do have 295/75 low profile, 22.5s.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the steer, I have 275/80R, 22.5 low pro. Would that be a problem?
No, that's essentially the same tire, but the two in the front are probably Michelin's, and the ones in the back are some other brand.
Yeah, the steer are Michelin's, and then the ones at the back are Chinese.
That's okay. It doesn't matter. That's not the problem. So we'll leave that alone.
Okay. Okay.
All right. How many miles?
At the same time, I'm sorry, but at the same time, I did do an alignment after I put on the drive tires, but the truck also is pulling so much to the right. Like, I know you guys say you have to count 4 seconds, and not even 2 seconds, the truck is on the right side pulling. It pulls so bad.
Okay, so you have a pull problem, which is probably an alignment problem, but the vibration is not coming from the alignment. So let's forget about that, okay?
Right.
Okay.
Two different problems.
All right. Now, how long has it been vibrating like this? Ever since you owned it, or in the last 3 months, or in a year, or what?
it started vibrating after the alignment.
Okay.
Like the last 2
Right
months.
away after?
No, right away
after,
no.
or a couple of months after?
A couple of, I'll say like 2 weeks after. And this vibration comes when I'm bobtailing.
Ah, okay. That's interesting. It doesn't vibrate when you have a load on it, but it does vibrate when you're bobtail, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Very good.
It's a Freightliner.
It's a Freightliner, yes. Okay.
U-bolts?
Very probably U-bolts are loose. If you stand behind the truck when it's bobtailed and you look at the airbags, are they fairly straight up and down, or are they pinched in on the bottom?
They're straight. Like now I'm outside the truck getting unloaded, and the airbags, I look at them, they're straight.
So you're underneath the trailer, or is the trailer disconnected now?
It's disconnected.
Okay, so you're standing 10, 15 feet behind the truck and you're looking at your airbags and they look like they're straight up and down, right?
Yeah, but the right one, I think the right one looks a little bit not straight. Just a little bit.
Okay, now I want you to look over the top of the rear diff, and I want you to look at the front airbags. They look like they're straight up and down?
The right one seems not to be straight. The right side.
So you've got some U-bolts that aren't tight. And as the U-bolts get loose, the airbags slide toward the middle of the truck. Now that could be adding into the vibration because the thing's able to move a little bit. All right.
Okay.
When you're bobtailed and you get in this speed range, have you tried just pushing in the clutch to see if the vibration keeps going or if it stops?
No, I haven't done that.
Okay, you want to try that. Because we're going to try and isolate, is it a clutch problem? Is it an engine problem? Is it a universal joint problem? What it typically tells me is that when you're empty, the suspension changes position a little bit. There's less torque on the universal joints and everything, and it could be vibrating because there's not enough torque on them to hold them in place. When the weight is on them and they're pulling torque, then it could be stopping the vibration. So we need to figure out what is getting loose that's causing the vibration. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So start with like the U-bolts.
Yes. Start with the cheapest thing first, and make sure your U-bolts are tight. This is something that has to be done with Freightliners anyway, because they're an underslung suspension. So you may as well just do it. Either replace them or make sure that they get torqued.
Yeah, straighten the airbags back out, tighten U-bolts up on both sides. Okay.
Right. And see what effect that has. If it has no effect, well, then we got to keep moving.
Okay. Regarding the pulling on the right side, I've listened to you guys. You talk about the toe on a Freightliner has to be done differently.
Mm-hmm. Now, do you want to fix the alignment yourself, or do you want to have somebody else do it?
I'll have someone do it. But this guy doesn't use your method. He uses the computer and laser.
Do you want to find a shop that uses our equipment and do it our way?
Right.
Do you have one near Boston?
Yeah. Well, what you should do is you should go to our website. On our website at mdalign.com, there's a U.S. map, and you can pick a state, and it'll show you the shops in that state that do it our way.
Yep.
Okay. So if you could just go over the toll thing, maybe I can explain that to my technician.
No, it would be easier to have your technician call me.
Okay.
Because I need to know what kind of equipment he's using, so I can tell him what kind of settings that I would use on that particular equipment.
Right. So either call the number on the website, or we've got a technical line that we have people call when they're not calling the radio show, which is 515-967-5626.
Let me write that down. Is it hard for me?
Sure. Hold on, and we'll repeat it.
Okay, go ahead.
It could be, if you have your own tools, do you do your own maintenance?
Do you do brake
not
jobs?
Everything. Yes, I do brake jobs.
But you do some of it. Okay.
Yeah.
If you go to our website and you look under the products tab, you will find some books that we've written.
Okay.
And one of the books is The Common Man's Guide to Wheel Alignment. That book tells you how to take 30 foot of string, a tape measure, and roll of duct tape, and you can measure the truck, and then with tools, you can set the alignment yourself.
And if you can do a brake job, you've already got the tools to do it.
Sure. So you said that the phone number is 515?
515-967
967
5626.
5626. All right. Thank you so much. All right.
You're welcome, buddy. You have a good day.
You too, sir. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Right.
All right. All right. So, we believe that is a pinion angle change issue.
It could be
empty and loaded.
It could just as easily be a universal joint that's going out.
Also true.
And when the load's on it, the torque is holding it in place, and when there's not as much load, the universal joint can wobble.
Right.
Or a carrier bearing.
Right.
So there's a whole lot of things that it could be.
Possibilities. Cheapest thing, get your U-bolts done.
Well, you got to do those anyway.
And afterwards, start talking about the driveline.
Right.
Okay. We got one more already on the line. That is the 231 area code. I think it's Bob. I keep hitting the button, and it finally comes in. There we go. Hello, Bob.
How are you?
We're good.
All
Yourself?
Right. How are you?
Can't complain. I had talked to, I believe it was you, Kevin, a couple days ago. I work for a fleet over here in Nebraska, and I'm getting a used 25 Freightliner with 22 miles on it.
Okay.
If I have them set up the caster, and I don't have the books that I have on me right now, don't we want that about -2?
No, +2.
+2.
Okay. Nobody uses a negative caster on the steer.
No, you don't want that.
I don't recall anybody ever using negative caster.
Okay, let's make this simple. Is this a Cascadia?
Yep.
Okay. All I got to do is between the axle and the leaf springs are some tapered wedges, thick on the back, thin on the front. They may be different from side to side. On a Cascadia, all I have to do is undo the U-bolts, lift the leaf springs up, and take the tapered wedges out on both sides, set the axle or the leaf springs back down, tighten the U-bolts, and you'll be at 3 degrees of caster. And that'll be just fine.
Right. Because the riser block and the angle of the spring set that axle at 3 degrees.
Okay, because I put my phone on there, and my original truck was 0 on the top of the frame, and then I'm getting 2 on one side and 1 on the other side. Phenomenal wear. Phenomenal. And this one is 5 on both sides.
Correct.
Yeah,
you got way too much caster. It makes it ride too rough. It costs you tire wear. So all you do is take the wedges out, and it'll get you to 3 degrees. Now, if you want to get fussy about it, you would take 2 1-degree shims and stick them in with the thick side to the front, 1 on each side, and that'll put you at 2 degrees of caster.
Right. But once you've got it even side to side.
Right. Yeah. I just want it. We just want it 2, correct? As much as possible.
2 is ideal.
No.
3 is acceptable. 2 is ideal.
Yep.
Okay. And then I noticed, because I don't have the ability to do that, and I don't have the ability to do the axle side to side. Isn't that when we shift those 2 axles, we want them within a ½ inch of each other? Is that correct?
Well, that depends on how you're measuring it. Okay? You're talking about aligning the drive axles now, right?
Yep.
Okay. So the first thing you do is you take a tape measure and you measure from the frame to the drive tire on one side of the truck and from the frame to the drive tire on the other side of the truck. And the axle should be centered underneath the truck laterally within 1/4 inch. Okay?
Okay.
So you got to check that on both axles. Make sure they're in the center. There's an arm on top of the axle that goes sideways to the diff that you can shim to center the axle if it's off. And oftentimes they are off.
My old truck has like 1 or 2 shims. This one, holy shit, there's a stack of them in there. I saw that, and I'm like, oh, shit, this is screwed up.
Yeah, so get your tape measure first, measure the lateral position, okay?
Okay.
Then
that's squared away.
The next step is to measure and get the front axle going just a little bit to the left and the rear axle just a little bit to the right to form a cone. Now, the problem is, how are you going to measure that? Do they have alignment equipment, or are they going to use a string and a tape measure?
I have your toe in tandem, so I have no problem doing all of that. I just can't I just can't lift the truck up to do shims, and I don't have the ability. I don't have that tool, that little hand jack or whatever, to jockey them axles left to right. I don't have that.
No,
but everything else,
just need a little bottle jack. Yeah. You don't need a jack to move the drive axles. What I used to do was I would loosen the bolts where the shims are going to be, and then I'd put a block of wood to chalk the axle, and then I'd back the truck up against the block of the wood to move the axle forward so I could change the shims.
Right.
And I've had no problem putting shibs in there. I've never had a problem. For some reason, when I've always loosened the bolt, that damn thing, it just, you got all kinds of
jumps.
I don't know if that's just luck. Yeah. Yep. I don't know if that's just luck or what, but.
Yeah. Well, on the front of the truck, to change the things, you need a good impact gun to loosen the U-bolts, right?
Yeah, they got all that. They got a Hunter system, so they got all that to put. I can have them do that. My thing is, when I was talking to Kevin about doing the front, they got those for doing the toe. They got those like little flarings up there now. You can take those off. They're little bolts that you can. I mean, there's like maybe 5 or 6. So I don't know why they still don't use your system. They just come right off, align your shit.
About Crete.
Yeah. They're those little flarings that Freightliner is putting up there, because the way your toe and tandem is now, you're going to hit. But if you just take those little flarings that are bolted on there off, it's no different than the older truck. So I don't know what their laziness is about. So
who knows?
It's hard to say.
And then when you put that bar up there,
to water.
Yeah, but you can't make them drink. When you put that bar up there, you want that as close to where the rim starts coming out, as high as possible without hitting the rim, and then you won't have a problem, correct?
Well, what you want is you want it above the bulge in the tire at the bottom.
Right.
And below the protrusion of the rim above. So in that space, and you still need to stick out past the tire enough to put your tape measures on. That's all I care about.
Okay. Then here was my other question. Do you guys go with torque in these tie rod nuts back? Because I just took a cordless impact on mine. That son of a gun is hard to move at this point. So I don't want to screw this one up because it's only got 22 miles. I'm going to have to adjust it here in a couple of months once everything, sets in again. But you just put them tight, hand tight with a wrench, or just hit it with the damn gun and just hope for the best when you adjust it again.
I just hit them with a gun, but I don't rattle it a whole bunch to make sure it's over tight. That's stretching the threads.
Right.
Okay.
It's just
hit it with a gun.
Clamping pressure.
Yep.
Okay. Other than that, your guys' system, hell, it got me 210 on a set of steers. The way that truck handles, amazing. And I got to duplicate it. That's all I care about. Duplicate it.
There you go. All righty.
I appreciate everything.
For you.
Good luck to you, buddy. All righty.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh, which one is this? This is this one?
It was Bob.
Yeah. He drives for Crete, which is becoming an MD alignment customer, but it hasn't gone everywhere yet. Just slowly but surely proving it out shop by shop. All right, we got another one here. He's only called in 121 times, so probably not a regular listener. But it's the 651 area code.
You mean the software program we've got keeps track on people who call us?
This call-in studio thing.
That's an invasion of privacy.
It sort of is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's news to me. I never knew that recorded that.
The government will get a hold of this, and they'll be track our listeners and put them all in jail. This is not good.
Hello, Matt.
Yes, sir. Well, first off, I'm left home here today. I live about an hour north of the Twin Cities. We got about an inch of snow on the ground. I'm driving my wife's Grand Cherokee.
Yeah.
And, it's just wet, slushy stuff. I discovered we need new tires on the Jeep. I tried changing lanes in the slush. It didn't go well.
Need a little more tread.
Yep. Made a complete
Not
360, but kept it on the road anyway.
All right. Good deal.
So, quite a while back, I said I would do some research on a valve stem core for you with the counteract balance beads. And, of course, I forgot. So, the valve core that my tire shop is using is a FVC, which stands for filtered valve core.
Okay.
And that has a big long spring on it and looks like a plunger on the end.
Yep.
That goes down in.
Yep.
Those are the best recommended for not getting any grains of any type of balance media up into the core to plug it.
Keep you from blowing air out.
Yeah, the little short valve cores that don't have that extension on them and the plunger comes right out, you can get stuff stuck in it real easy.
Right.
Yep.
Filtered valve core. All right. That's what we needed to know.
They're available pretty much anywhere on Amazon. Yep. So something anybody could pick up somewhere.
Excellent. All right. Anything else? You got a joke? We haven't heard any jokes today. So if you have one stored up.
No, I never remember them well, so I'd screw it up if I tried saying one. So.
You're from Minnesota. You got any spin and ollies?
I used to know a lot of them, but like I say, I screw them up if I try to repeat them.
Screw them up. All right, no problem. Well, thanks again for calling, and thanks for the information. And let's see, look forward to the next necessary conversations.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you for calling.
You have a good day. Bye-bye.
Okay, and we do have another one. And we have about 25 minutes left in the program, so if anybody else has any questions, any comments, or any jokes, the number here is 855-950-3835, or push the little button on the app. All right, and this one is 218 area code, which I guess is also Minnesota. Hello.
Hey, how's it going today?
It goes well.
All right.
Did you get any snow?
I'm up in northern Minnesota, up by Bemidji area, and there's nothing on the ground right now.
Okay.
So
we got plenty of rain down here in Des Moines, but no snow of any kind yet.
Yep. I have a TST tire monitor system.
Oh, yeah.
And on my steers, I got the 120 on the sidewall, so I went to go up to 130. This was before it got cold, but running it down the road, I started getting heat alert at 140. I think it was 140 degrees. Or 140 PSI.
140.
It was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I just wondering if you guys had any suggestions on what to set that high pressure for the steers, being I'm already up at 130. I started getting alerts at 140.
Can you change the alert temperature on the TST?
It wasn't the temperature I was having an issue with. I was having an issue with the pressure.
The pressure.
But yes, you
can. You change pressure?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
then
you can.
set it at 160.
160. Okay. I was kind of trying to figure out where to set it at. So.
Yep. To give you an idea,
one
of our listeners years ago said that he finally got a monitoring system on his truck, and he was starting out at 120 in the morning, and he was driving down the road because his tire said 110, so he was at 120. Mm-hmm. He says, I'm driving down the road right now, Mike, and the pressure in the tire says 185.
From 120 to 185.
I said, what are you doing? He says, well, I'm driving across West Texas, It's 115 degrees outside, and I'm doing 85 miles an hour. He has generated one hell of a lot of heat.
Right.
Now, later, the tires cooled down. They went through their cycle, and he got 200,000 miles out of the tires anyway. So the high pressure really didn't hurt them as a part of a temperature pressure cycle.
No, not at all.
Right.
Granted, you're not going to be seeing that kind of pressure.
Yeah, I was, okay, so 160, I was just trying to figure out where to set it safely for the alerts. So thank you very much for the information.
165. You betcha, buddy. You have yourself a great day. Drive safe out there.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. TPMS systems have been very helpful.
Yes, they are. I like them.
Over the last decade or so.
I like them a lot better than I like automatic inflation systems.
Right. Automatic inflation systems, they lie is the problem.
Well, they're so mechanically sensitive that 25% of the time they're not working right.
Exactly. And by not working right, it's either they're not feeding air into a tire that they are supposed to, or they're not feeding the right pressure into that tire.
Right.
So just a problem. The TPMS system, if it goes wrong, it doesn't give you any information at all, which is also information.
Yeah. So if you have an automatic inflation system, put a tire pressure monitoring system on it as well.
Yeah. Then you'll know so much more about what you're looking at.
Instead of assuming the pressure system's doing the right job.
Yeah. All right, we got another one here. This is not Minnesota calling.
Oh.
Not Minnesota.
Refreshing change.
This is Wisconsin.
Yep.
All right. All right. Hello, Wisconsin.
Well, actually, I am in Minnesota. I figure I'd follow up on more snow reports.
Okay, cool.
I am from Wisconsin, of course, but I do a dedicated route to Minnesota every day, and actually I went to bed last night in southern Minnesota around St. Charles on I-90, and and I don't like idling the truck. I'm a company driver, but I try to take care of these trucks, even if it's a lease truck. So I really should just abuse it, but I don't like idling the truck, and every night I check the weather, see what the low is going to get to, and see if I can sleep in my underwear or sleep in my full clothes, if it's going to be cold or whatever. And I'm checking. I do a drop and hook in Mankato at the Walmart, and I'm checking Mankato's weather hourly, and it says it's going to get down to 42, which is perfectly fine for me. I'll sleep in my underwear. I wake up and it's pouring rain, 20-mile-an-hour winds, and 35 degrees or 37 degrees. And it's freezing my ass off. So anyways, I go to Mankato, I do my drop and hook, and I hit about 10 miles west, and it just turns into a blizzard. And I've been running 2-lane roads for the last few hours, and I've probably seen 20 cars in the ditch, a couple semis off the road, couple head-on collisions, pretty slow, mile an hour. They weren't demolished, but it's a mess, kind of in the south central area of the state.
Yeah, everybody forgot how to drive.
Yeah, it's the first one of the year.
Yep.
And but we're all going about 40.
Their tires are thinner.
Right. Yeah, we're going about 35 miles an hour though this entire way, so it's been pretty safe for me. I was empty for a while, so I was taking her easy, but I got weight on now. So, the only suspension or tire wear story I got, or questions, I guess, is a few weeks ago, like I said, I'm a company driver, so I got pulled in to the weigh station in Wisconsin at the port of entry, and I was a little over on my drives because they loaded me different that time and pulled me around, put me in the inspection bay, of course, and I'm pretty young. I'm 22. I've never been pulled around the scale before, so I'm just following orders. And he pulls me down into the pit, and he looks, and he goes, "Hey, you see these, this bad tire wear here on the trailer?" And I go, "Yeah." I said, "We don't, we usually take crappy drives off of older trucks, and if they still got life, then they're legal. We'll put them on the trailers." And he goes, "Well, these plastic discs here for the trailer bush or the axle bushing," he said, "they're mushroomed out. Yeah. So I'm gonna write you up for a warning because you got bad axle bushings." And he goes, "I talked to the state mechanic for the DOT, and he says the only way to really give you an out of service violation is if we lift up the trailer and figure it out that way. But I'm not going to do that. So I'll just give you a warning, which when it comes to DOT, warnings are the worst because you can't fight them and they end up on your safety record. But, you know, and you can't fight them. If you get a ticket or a citation, you can take it to court and a lot of times win that case and it's completely wiped off your record and you don't have to pay the ticket or nothing. And then in this, the CSA scores are a big deal to these brokers. So if you got a bad safety score, you can lose some money and your insurance goes way up. So warnings kind of suck. But I like I said, I'm young and I don't know enough to like call him out. I'm not going to call out this DOT officer and argue with him because then he'll hammer me for some other stupid thing. So I accepted the warning. I took it to the shop and they immediately did the axle bushings and the bushings were in perfect shape. And it's just frustrating. Because, you know, they don't really know. They just guessed that those plastic discs were mushroomed, so he wrote us up for it, and there was nothing wrong with them. So.
Yep.
Hey, I think he was just doing you a kindness and giving you a nice little warning.
And it screwed you.
For your first occasion of a trailer inspection. Just pointless. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that was my third run-in with the State Patrol, and and they're always so gracious. You know, they always go, "We're just going to give you a warning today, no citation." Well, God damn it, guy, it screws me harder than a citation does, especially when it's something ticky-tacky that I could fight, you know. And you can't even, a lot of guys will ask for a citation, and then it's up to the officer to give it to you if he wants to or not. But, yeah. So, and I got a joke before I get off of here.
Good, we need one. Yeah.
All right. There was this guy, and he met this woman, and he went back to her place, and you know, at her house, and it seems like a pretty big family house, but as far as he knows, she's living alone, and they're fooling around upstairs, and they hear this car pull into the driveway, and the wife goes, "Uh-oh, you know, my husband's home," and the guy goes, "What?" And, you know, he runs, he goes and hides into the closet, and kind of waits to see how things unfolds, you know, and the closet's dark, and he's just hiding in there, and here's this little kid voice, and he goes, "It's dark in here," and he goes, "What? Who the hell is in here?" And the kid says, "Well, that's my mom, and my dad just came home, and I know what you've been doing," and the guy goes, "Oh, no, I'm going to tell my dad," and the guy goes, "Oh, please, you know, please don't, what could I do?" And he says, "Well, I got this baseball glove," and he goes, "Well, yeah, you want to go play catch or something?" And he goes, "No, I'll sell it to you." "Well, how much do you want for it?" $500. And the guy goes, "Oh, geez, that's steep, you know." And fine, whatever. He didn't have a choice. He paid the kid. The kid shut up. And for some reason, he didn't learn his lesson because he came back the next week and was fooling around and went to wife. Now that he knew she was a wife. Husband comes home again. He goes and hides in the closet. And same thing. It's dark in here. And he goes, "Oh, geez, now what? How can I make you shut up, kid, you know?" And he goes, "Well, I got this baseball bat." And hey, how much for the baseball bat? $500. He pays it. And he goes back one more time. Same story. Ends up in the closet. It's dark in here. And he tries selling the guy his baseball now. And $500 for the baseball. And he pays it. And one day the kid's at home and the dad gets home from work. And dad says, "Hey, you know, do you want to go play catch outside, go play some baseball?" And the kid goes, "I can't. I don't have my bat or my ball or my glove." And he goes, "Well, what did you do with it?" And he goes, "Well, I sold it to some kids at school. I sold them to some kids at school." And he goes, "Well, how much did you sell them for?" And he goes, "About $1,500 for everything." And dad goes, "Oh, my God, that is just terrible. You cannot take advantage of young kids like that. First, we're going to go to the parents, and we're going to give the money back, and then we're going to take you to confession." So they go give the money back, and they go right to confession, and the kid's in there, right? And the kid goes in there and shuts the booth, and he goes, "Oh, it's dark in here." And the priest goes, "Don't start that shit again."
Whoops. All right, buddy. You have yourself a good day.
All right.
It's dark in here.
It's dark in here. So now we know who he was.
That's it.
All right.
That's it.
Okay. So we've got 10 minutes left.
Wait a minute. Are we supposed to go to 3 minutes after?
If we want.
Oh.
We don't have to.
We don't have to. Good.
All right. What have we got new going on? Well, we got
a new video coming out.
We got the final version of the what do you call that?
It's an
value proposition.
MD alignment promotional video.
It's a promotion of us. So
I don't know what this value proposition bullshit is.
Right.
People start talking this Hollywood language, and I don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there, but it's a really decent commercial. We'll be putting it on Facebook and on our website and YouTube and everything else here shortly as we roll it out, and we'll be bringing it to the NASTC on a TV there. It'll be a great little video for everybody to see, along with all of our other videos. This will be the first MD alignment video that does not feature Mike or myself. So that'll be interesting. All right, we do have another caller on the line, and this is a favorite. This is Paul. Hello, Paul.
Howdy.
Howdy.
Can you hear me okay? I've been having phone troubles lately.
We can hear you just fine.
Yeah.
Okay. So my trailer, I put the reinforcing just on the outer end of the axle. Well, I got
yes, sir. How'd that work?
Oh, it started off real good, but it's a closed tandem, but it identifies as a spread axle sometimes for weight carrying purposes. But I got about 130,000. I got about 130,000 miles on it, but I do have a little bit of cupping wear showing up. So, do you think if I put the piece in the middle, that would help me cure that? Maybe.
I can't tell you whether it would make it better or worse. All I know is that we originally did the whole thing, and then people have been experimenting with just putting the outsides on it and have had good results.
Right.
So at 130,000 miles, how does that compare with what you got before?
Oh, way better. Hell, I couldn't go 100,000 miles on my old trailer.
Okay. So, and for the cost of doing the middle sections, that's really not that much cost. It's worth trying.
Right. Now, the idea that Mike has always had, that I don't know how many people have tried, is if you're still seeing the cupping, even though you've got the braces on the outside between the suspension and the backing plate for the brakes, is to put another one on the bottom of the same axle, directly below that one. That maybe that would stiffen it up just a bit better than just adding the piece in the middle, or instead of adding the piece in the middle. We don't know.
Okay. Yeah, because it's an auto transporter. The piece in the middle, we got so much crap in the way, it's kind of hard to get to. So maybe I'll try the piece on the bottom and see what happens. So
there you go. Yeah. There you go.
So
because we believe that most of the flex is from the suspension out, not in between.
Yeah, and it's backed up by the fact that if these axles crack, they crack right there at the where that flange sits on the outside, the outboard side of the suspension, at that short piece of metal, or the short piece of pipe on the outside of the suspension. So that's apparently where all of the stress is.
Okay. So maybe I'll do an experiment and put the piece on the bottom and see what happens. So, yeah.
Let us know how it works out. You betcha, buddy.
That would be easier than just a piece in the middle. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, rotate the tires and see if they ever wear on the inside again.
Yeah. So I got a joke for you.
Okay.
So there's this guy. He goes into this cowboy bar and he says to the barman, he says, "That your horse outside?" Yeah. And he says, "I bet you $100 I can make your horse laugh." And he says, "I'll take you on that bet." So he goes outside and he leans over and he whispers in the horse's ear. He whispers something, and the horse starts laughing. And the guy's like, "Oh, shit." He said, "That's quite amazing." He said, "Here's your $100." The next week, he comes back and he says, "I bet you $100 I can make your horse cry." And the guy says, "I'll take that bet." He said, "Because he's still laughing." So this guy wanders outside and he says, he leans into the horse and whispers in his ear. And the horse starts crying. And he's like, "Well, shit, I'll give him $100. The next week, the guy comes in and he says, "I got a question for you." He says, "I got to know what did you tell my horse to make him laugh?" And the guy says, "I told him I had a bigger dick than he did." And he's like, the barman, he starts laughing. He said, "Yeah, that's funny right there." And he says, "Okay, what did you tell him to make him cry?" He said, "I didn't tell him nothing. I showed him."
That'll do it.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, I'll carry on.
You have a good one, buddy.
Talk to you later.
All right.
All right. So let's see. We got one more, and it'll be the last one because it's already less than 5 minutes left, unless you add the 3 minutes. I really don't know how that works anymore.
I don't add anything.
Yeah. But this one's supposedly from Georgia, 912.
Hey, gentlemen.
Howdy.
I had a spring job done with Martine down here last week. Springs and boots.
Okay.
Excellent job.
Mm-hmm.
Aniline and everything else. But we were talking about how the truck leans because apparently it's a pack car thing. So one side has a 2.5-inch shim or spacer, and the other side has a 2-inch spacer.
Right. Freightliner does the same kind of thing.
Why?
There's a lot of reasons. None of them are really good.
I can see that.
They some say that they're doing it for engine torque. Some say that they're doing it to counter the lean of the road, but none of them actually matter. You could leave it even side to side and everything will perform just fine. You can add to one side or the other. It's not going to change the tire performance, not enough to count it anyway.
Right.
I've seen him do it for years, and I tried to figure out what it is, and I couldn't find any realistic answers, and so I just shrugged my shoulders and says, well, the sky's blue, the earth's round, and that's just the way it is.
Right. Does it cause any spring rate issues or anything?
Nope. Nothing that I've ever seen.
One side crush more than the other, or no? Okay. That was kind of my concern because it feels like it dips a little bit harder on the right side, which is the 2-inch shim, than it does on the left side. But it could very well just be the way I'm hitting potholes, more potholes on the right.
Yeah.
And I'm having.
So you're saying on your truck,
at the end of the day.
So you're saying on your truck the taller block is on the right side as opposed to the left side. Is that correct?
Correct. On the driver's
I've seen other ones that the taller block is on the left side and the shorter block's on the right side. And I've never figured out why.
My T600 was like that. It was taller on the right side, which constituted, I was telling Martina, I said, pack cars are known for their right-hand lean, so it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. Yeah, there's no harm in adding a little extra on one side, a half inch or so. It just changes how you have to make your measurements for assuring that the steer axle is square to the frame. Because if one side is higher than the other, the angle up to the spring eye is different, and you kind of got to use a plumb bob to make sure that you're actually comparing apples to apples.
But
it's not a big deal.
No big deal at all.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
Well, everything else seems just fine.
All right.
Better than it ever did, and
that's what I want to hear.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.
Thank you. All right. Any other other truth bombs we need to drop on everybody?
Nothing that I know about.
Nothing we know about. It's Halloween. We are not going to be on next week. We will see you, what
2 weeks.
Calendar say, the 14th of November. What's that, 2 weeks until Thanksgiving at that point. We'll have a great time with our time off, and I hope you do too. And we'll see everybody on the other side of the election and everything else.
Stay safe.